viewers, welcome to another edition of the YM Industry Personality Profile Series. It's a program designed to bring to fore those we believe are shaping the mining industry across the West African sub-region, and we want the world of the mining industry to recognize their contributions. Today we are privileged to have distinguished personality. She's seen it all from the managerial side of things. She's a role model to several young ladies who are pursuing interest in science and engineering. She's in the person of Adiki Ayitevie. Thank you for having us today.
My pleasure.
As usual, we want you to tell us a bit more about yourself, your background, and the preference of the mining industry.
So I started life as an English teacher. And that's something that surprises people. So I went to University of Cape Coast. I studied, I majored in English, so English and then education. And I always get the question, why English? And I said, so when I finished A-levels, my father's goal, initially my goal was to be a lawyer. I loved reading. Everybody felt that I knew how to hold an argument, so they felt I could be a lawyer. But I went to Wesley Girls, so in Wesley Girls I always felt passionate about Wesley Girls, and I thought I wanted to be the headmistress of Wesley Girls. So I decided to go to University of Cape Coast. I remember my father and I had a good chat about what good for him was that my father understands. So once I was able to articulate why I wanted to do what he supported me fully. So I went to UCC, studied English and education because I did English at A-level. So when completed and then did my national service at Accra Girls. So whilst doing my national service, then I had an aha moment and said, wait a minute, I don't want to teach. Because I've done teaching practice at West Indies. I loved it. I loved teaching at Accra Girls. But I had because now I sat down and I had to take stock of my life and say, okay, now I'm teaching. Is this what I really want to do? And I thought, no, that's not. But did I know what I wanted to do? I wasn't sure. So I took the newspapers and I was reading and I saw University of Ghana had advertised. And they had public relations. I said, oh, if you have a degree in English, you can. I said, okay, I'm going to do public relations. I can write. It's about writing. And everybody says I like talking. Okay, so I can talk. And I can hold an argument. So I'm going to be a PR practitioner. So when I share this with everybody laughs. So that's how I got into public relations. I went to University of Ghana School of Communication Studies and did communication studies. So it covered journalism, public relations, advertising, the full hall. Then after school, my lecturers offered me an opportunity to work with Dr. Young Graham, who was just setting up a newspaper, Public Agenda. So we went and we were the pioneers of Public Agenda. So I worked with him. We set up Public Agenda. We ran the paper for him. I worked there for almost 3 years. And then while there, I said, okay, I think I've built my skills around journalism. Because I spoke to a very good friend of my parents, who was also a work colleague of my father, and who was also the head of the public relations for that time, the director of public relations for BAT, that time known as Pioneer Tobacco Company. So may so rest in peace, Mr. Jimmy Ayitevie. He said if you wanted to go into PR, I suggest that you should polish your writing skills, and you speak very well. So I thought, okay, if I did journalism, I could use that to transition into PR. So I did journalism for almost 3 years. And then from there I said, okay, now this is the time. I work with Public Agenda. I've been proofreader for almost 3 years. I rose to become the deputy news editor because it was a small newspaper, so you could easily, we did everything. I was also a journalist. I covered political, I did gender, I did education, I did economics. So I said, okay, I think I've built the relationships. I know people in the media. I can write now, write very well, I can edit very well. So now I'm ready to get into public relations. So I was fortunate to apply to Volta River Authority, and I got the opportunity to work there as an information admin officer. So I was doing administration and communication. So I worked there for 6 years. Then from there I moved into Société Générale. Then at that time it used to be SGSSB, because Société Générale Bank, France, had just bought what was called Social Security Bank, what had become SSB Bank. And they bought it and they wanted to do the rebrand, and they were looking for public relations practitioners. So I interviewed and I got that job as a communications manager to support the rebranding of SGSSB into kind of, that time SSB to SGSSB. So I worked there for 3 years, and I felt that I'd kind of done the rebrand had been done, Societe Generale had been well established in Ghana. Everybody knew about SGSSB.
Yeah.
We did the red rising, red, black, and rising. So I thought, okay, I was ready for a new challenge. Then I was kind of reading the newspapers. Then I saw Newmont had advertised. And I said, wow, public relations, mining. I've never done mining. This is going to be a new challenge. It's going to test me. And I love challenges. You can tell now that I love challenges from newspaper to utility and to mining. So I applied and I went to the interview and then I got it. And then I've been here ever since. It should be 2007 June.
And back then, were you looking at coming this far?
I mean, I think I was. Because I'm not sure, anytime I get into a role, into a new job, I ask myself, what is the ultimate in this? Because I want to challenge myself, I want to see myself grow. I'm not that kind of person who wants to be in a role and I'm comfortable with what I'm doing. I want to see myself grow. And I always say that I see my parents role model that. I see my dad starting off as a factory manager, ending up as the director of production for BAT. I see my mother starting off as a teacher and ending up as a headmistress and moving into different schools. And she was with the Methodist unit, moving into different schools and setting it up and always making sure that it was set up to the Methodist standard. And then the next challenge comes and they move it to the next underperforming school to bring it up. So I've grown up in that kind of environment. So I felt that whatever I'm doing, I need to move it to the ultimate. I'm not comfortable being a regional manager. I want to see what is the highest I can. Is that how far can I always push myself? And so that's been my, I guess, my objective and the way I run my life. I want to always see how can I take whatever I'm doing to the ultimate best.
Yes. I'm trying to trace your steps back from journalism through to banking or PR, and I'm here. What's been your most important?
One is that you shouldn't let fear hold you back. And I always tell people that, people feel like, oh, Adiki is fearless. I say, I have my own fears. But I don't want my fear to hold me. So I have that fear, but I'm like, well, I look at others and say, okay, this person was able to do this. And I look back on my past and say, I started off, I couldn't do this, I was afraid, but I've been able to excel. So it means that if I look beyond my fears, I know that, yes, I'll start off fearful, but at the end of the day, I'm going to, I'm be successful. So that's how I look. So the fear is going to be there, but don't let the fear hold you back. That is one. Secondly, I always say that hearing from naysayers is good. So people who say it's not going to be possible, you can't do it. They are the ones who challenge me. So, I can't do it. I'm going to prove that I can do it. So that proving is what is taking me. Then the other thing is about challenges. So there's going to be challenges. How do you always overlook that problem, that failure? And there's going to be failure, trust me. You're going to try things and it's not going to work out. But how do I learn from my failure to improve and make it better or best? So learning from my failures, looking at the challenges and accepting those challenges and looking beyond. Then the other thing I'll talk about is continuous improvement. And I think you've heard me say that a lot. It's always trying to be your best. So continuous improvement comes from learning. And why do I say, when I remember when I was in secondary school, anytime I remember we would go out and my father would be in front of the car driving and say, Adiki, you have to learn because we've come back from school. Thinking, I've come back from school, I want to rest. And my father said, okay, so have you read over your notes? I'm thinking, excuse me, Daddy. I'm saying, of course, I put it in my head. Excuse me, Daddy, we're on vacation, you're supposed to be resting. They're asking me to learn. He said, then sometimes I'll be bothered. So, but Daddy, it's on vacation and I'm resting. He said, you know, you have to learn. You have to learn and learn and learn. And then when you die, I'll say, here lies the body of Adiki Ayitevie, who learned till she died. So he said it so, I can't remember how many times he said this thing. So it's almost like it was inculcated in me that you never stop learning till you die. And it's become something that's become part of me. So even till date, I'm in a new role, so you know that I've moved from communications and now I'm in sustainability. So I'm doing the full run of sustainability. And now starting off as a regional manager, going through director communications, was director external relations communications, and then I moved into senior director communication and external relations, and now I'm vice president sustainability and external relations. And it's all that mantra is what has helped me. It's that fear, looking beyond your fear, having that and knowing that you're going to fail, but looking beyond that failure, always thinking about the challenge and being ready and bring the challenge on and we're going to deal with it. And then it's always, how am I going to improve myself and take myself to the top of my game? And I've learned that when you do that, people recognize that. So they see you as somebody who is willing to take challenge. And I think every leader wants the person who never says, oh, this work is too much. Oh, I can't do this. The person says, oh, yes, okay, this is something new. Let's see what we can do about it. And I think those are the things that have moved. There's that continuous thing. But I think one key thing I'll say is leadership. And you spoke, when we were talking earlier, you spoke about emotional intelligence. How do you manage your emotions? So how do you deal with people? You're not in a good mood today. Do you bring that good? I mean, because I'm in a bad mood, so I come to work and that whole day I'm grumpy and everyone is running around me. So I get to work, I put my emotions behind me. I come to work, I will deal with people who make me upset. Do I let that anger take control of me? How do I turn that anger into something positive to move the team over and to move the business? So that emotional intelligence for me is important. And emotional courage. I tell people, leadership is about emotional courage. So you're working with a team, you're working with your leaders, and something is not right, and your leader asks you to, or your boss asks you to do something. You think that probably the direction the boss is asking is not the best.
Yes.
How do you take that courage to confront your boss to say, you know, I understand where you're coming from, but I think as a professional, this is what I think we should do. And I've had a boss tell me, okay, I'm not a professional, you do, but if it doesn't work out, you are going to be accountable. I said, yes, madam, I'm a professional, I'll be accountable. And of course, I know I don't want to feel, so I'm going to take my book, I'm going to learn, I'm going to ask people. So emotional courage, being able to stand up in a respectful manner to tell your bosses or your fellow colleagues that I don't think this is the right, I'm the expert, trust me. Some people may not even know where you're going, but trust me, and now let me go and read and say, let me go and read the books and say, what did the experts say? And then say, okay, this person says it's possible. They've tried and tested it. Why do you think it can be possible? Just try it. And if it doesn't, it will work, but then maybe turn it to suit your context and then do that. So that's my.
We're having a very interesting chat with Adiki Ayitevie. She is the regional vice president, sustainability and external relations. Adiki believes that we need to challenge ourselves to grow professionally, and that you don't need to let the fear you harbor hold you back. As professionals, we need to, just don't forget continuous improvement. We need to learn from our failures to improve continuously and always. Put yourself in a position for leadership always. You've been in the system for a long time.
It's 10 years. I have colleagues who've done 20, 30 years, so I'm still new. I'm still learning my new.
I was just wondering, what has been your thoughts over the years as far as local content and diversity is concerned?
So first, let me start off from diversity. So I remember even when I went into journalism, there were not too many females. So I remember, I'm talking about, it's Asian, so I'm talking about 93, 94, 95, to early part of 96. We went on assignment, so I did political reporting, and I remember a couple times I was the only female. I was the only female doing political reporting. And then if there was, we did gender. Gender wasn't big then, but the public agenda, don't forget, was set up by ISODEC.
Yes.
And ISODEC is an NGO, so we're the kind of the mouthpiece of ISODEC, form an agenda and I'd say an NGO point of view, but we also kind of did a regular reporting. So gender wasn't big, but we covered gender. And it struck me that most of the time when we went out to assignment, there were not a lot of females. And if we went out to assignments or certain assignments that required traveling out, the setup wasn't for females because I'm a female and there are certain things that are unique to me as a woman. But so it was like, we are with men, we all have to behave like men.
Yes.
But the good thing is that I grew up with in the diverse of home, which had both male and female. So I knew how to kind of navigate that fighting with your brother, and your brother wants to win over you, you don't want him to win, so and sometimes it was like blues. So diversity and it being important, because over the years research increase has shown that diversity is important to business performance, because there's diversity of thought. We all think differently, people come with different, so if you're a guy, you're coming with a guy's mindset. It's like, let's go do it. You're not thinking about, what are the risks? You're not thinking about what are the soft skills that we need to apply. And business technically technical skills are good, but it's the soft skills that will make you succeed or fail. That's why I say that about 60 to 70% of managers fail, because typically you know the technical things, but when it comes to leading, you are not built on the soft skill. So that is important, diversity, and Newmont has that. We've realized that because we are a mining firm, and we are primarily male dominated. I remember when I joined the company, there was no female on the leadership team. It was purely men. Very few females, and now the business is making a conscious, and the industry making a conscious effort to bring in, because if you bring in female, if you look at Ghana, at least more than 50% of our population are females. And we are disenfranchising those females. And we talk about equal opportunity. We talk about progressing. So if 50%, more than 50% of your population are females, so you're leaving that female behind. Who is going to build your nation for you? You've left a large chunk of your population there. You want to advance as a country. That's not going to be possible. So that's what makes diversity. And don't forget that, it's that different perspective that people are bringing to the table that will challenge you. So we all don't come with the same mindset. It's that different perspective when you bring in different people and they know that you care about them, then they're going to give in their best. So for me, I think that the industry and the business is making a move. You spoke about, the other question you asked me was on
the
local content. Local content is important. And back again, I'll say that Newmont has been the trailblazer on that front. So we drove the chamber, worked with the chamber, led the conversation together with the Minerals Commission, the IFC, to say that it's important that the industry puts local content forward. Why? Because we also, our purpose as a company is we want to improve lives. We want to create value. And if you want to improve lives and want to create value, and want to do that through sustainable mining, then it's about, back again, it's about that value of diversity. How do you make sure different people in the company and outside the company have the opportunity to contribute? So local content is key, because you want to make sure that the bulk of the money is also staying in country to help grow the country. And if it grows the country, then you are able to survive within the country. You are able to then to grow your business, because if you're creating business for people, then you're improving yourself, and you're also lightening your boundaries. So for us, local content is key, and I'm happy to see that now government has taken it up, and we have legislation. The legislation a lot of it was built around Newmont's work and what we have done in that area, and now it's become the norm. And so we now have to take our game to the next level. So now we're working, and we pioneered a 3-year program, what we called it a half linkages program, where we made a conscious decision to maximize the content of businesses outside our minds, so within our local. So people local. So if we had local communities, so we set up the for local business association. We supported that. We built and groomed up Alexa Boam, who now has become an international figure. We work with people like Miltrack. She's a lady. She does all our mail relaying. And now we are developing a strategy, taking it to the next level. We call the enhanced local procurement strategy. And our whole point is that because we also want to create more jobs, and the only way we can create jobs is to have more of our locals taking over work, so that they can then employ more people. So that's also something that we're working on.
Are we getting anywhere in terms of professionalism compared to international standards?
Sure, I think we are. Because my question would be that, yes, you're working, and why am I saying that? You're working with multinationals, and multinationals come with certain standards.
Are we there yet?
Just a minute, I'm getting there. Multinationals come with certain standards. So when we come in and we feel that people don't have the standards, you see that you start off with people, probably more people who are not nationals, expats, and then you turn around and down the line, you see that more. So now you go around and look across the mining industry, and we have more nationals. And so that's why I'm saying that, by saying that, it will tell you that probably some years back we were not there, but now we are there in terms of professionalism, in terms of skill set. I look at Newmont, and now we have our expat rate probably shouldn't be more than 2%, if I'm correct, because about more than 96% of our employees are national. I look at the leadership team. When I joined Newmont, at our site leadership team, there were very few nationals. Now you go to it's the other way around. I mean, from our mine manager to our HR manager, every role, supply chain, every role you can think of is headed by Ghanaians. You come to a leadership team, it splits 50-50. I'm a local Our vice president HR is local. You look at our general manager operations services, who has probably more than 8 department functions under him, is national. So I think that we are there, but there's still some ways to go. Because why I say there's still some ways to go is that ultimately you're looking at a point where you probably have a 99%. I mean, I'm going to tell people that if certainly you say 100%, that's also asking, I would say that's possible. Because if I brought in my business, I want to also, don't forget that we also have, I'd say that the company has things that we do. We are multinational. So multinational means that we're made up of several nationalities, and we have businesses in several countries. So you also want to, within your company, you want to create that diversity. So if I sit in Ghana and I just only ask Ghanaians, how do I learn? And next time, because for me, my next goal is to move into a global role. And I've done that before. So in 2017, I went to lead a global project, our responsible sourcing strategy. I learned it as a Ghanaian for Newmont Goldcorp Corporation globally. I want to see Ghanaians move into global roles where we're able to lead at a global level, and that's where I think that. So it's when we do that diversity, we are seeing different people from different cultures coming in. We build that cultural diversity. So when I move into a global role, I know how to work with different people from different countries and different levels of the organization.
I'm still trying to look at the standards of the industry. I mean, over the years, the standards changed to meet international levels.
I think it has. I would say, and I know people are still in I would say that people are still in the 1800s and the early 1900s mode about how mining was done. So we keep talking about mining police, the mining, this mining, I mean, when you're talking about mining 1910, I mean, we didn't even have the microwave. Technology has moved on. The way mining is done, people's expectations of the industry has changed. So the technical skills have changed. Our knowledge about mining has changed. So the standards have changed. We now have, if I look at Newmont, we have standards on biodiversity. I'm sure 10 years ago, we have standards on tailings management. We have standards on resettlement, land acquisition, and standards on anything. We have standards on indigenous people because the world has changed. I spoke to you about responsible sourcing. We now talk about we haven't had a standard on product stewardship. We are preparing a standard on, I think about circular. The world is going the circular way. How are we thinking about it? So I think the world has changed. The industry has changed. Its standards and the way it managed mining. And we now, Josh was at the Ghana Mining and Energy Summit, and he spoke about mining innovation. He spoke about where we're taking mining. We're talking about autonomous mining, and autonomous mining will come with its own standards. I'll say even water management now. We have moved from water management, which was e-fence, to now we're looking at water stewardship. We have a whole strategy around water. So things have changed because the world is changing. Our knowledge about things is becoming, because as technology change, your understanding becomes different, and then you have to match. And then people's expectation of the industry is also different. They are expecting high standards. If you don't change to match that, trust me, you're going to be irrelevant. You're going to go out of business. So yes, things have changed.
And that fits into your current role. What are you hoping to achieve?
So for me, we've developed new standards. My role now is how do we take those standards and actuate it on the ground. I want to be able to move, and when we talk about sustainability, we talk about the golden standard. I want to have people turn around and say that Newmont has always been the pace leader, Newmont has always led, and we're going to lead and take things from where it was to where it should be. And then look at what are people's expectations and how do we meet that. So the world, I keep telling you, is changing. People are thinking about how do you minimize your impact on the environment? How do you leave 100 years down the line or 20, 30 years down the line, how do you leave the environment and your industry and the communities that you're in a better state for the next generation? That is what I want people to say, that when Adiki and her team, because I can't do that on my own, I work with a team, Adiki and her team and her company have taken sustainability to the next level. 10 years down the line, we turn back and look at Newmont and we're able to say that the way Newmont came to meet its Afro host community and its Achin host community and the west of the Africa continent that we are going to, the way they came to meet things have changed and things are for the better. We can turn back and say that through our presence, we have created new businesses through our presence, we have created a resilient environment where standards of life has improved. Through our presence, people are able to go to school and to improve the lot of themselves and their families. That's what I want people to be able to say about what I've done and what my company have done, what me and my team have also done.
When we came in, you were having meetings. I know you come in early, you leave late. You go to the site sometimes.
Yeah.
How do you manage to organize this? I mean, you're just looking at the home and your time schedules here. Yeah. How do you manage to split your time?
So it's what we call planning. And I know sometimes my husband and I have a laugh about it. It's that everything is, my team knows, everything you have to be strategic. So it's what do I want to do, how am I going to do it, and what is the end result. So I plan my life. So I know that I have a family, I'm married, I have 4 children. And my last is 8 years, my first is 26. And I'm 8 years, she's young. So I need to manage them, and I need to take care of my husband. So I need to train my children so that they can be able to grow up to be responsible adults and also run their home. So I plan. So I know that Saturdays, during the week I'm busy. Saturdays is for my family. And how do I get quality time? We take time, we go to the mall. If I'm going out, I'm going shopping, so I go with them, so they're part of me, we're around, so we have that quality bonding time. We take time, we go and watch movies. We save, we travel outside. So I always tell people that you don't have to be rich to travel. It's funny, like we save, if it's even every 3 years, we save, we're able to go as a family to spend that quality time together. And then in the morning when I'm going to work, I always like to go with my children. So my children in the car. If there's homework, then sometimes we have to catch up on homework in the car. So in the car, and then they finish the homework and I'm checking their homework, because I would have got to your point, I would have got you home late, they would be asleep. And when when they get home, I make a conscious effort. I tell my housekeeper, call me when they get home. I tell my driver, call me. So when they get home, they call and say, "Mommy, we are home." And I say, "Okay, do you have homework?" Because my husband is a marine navigator, he's a sea captain, so he goes to sea. So sometimes I'm not around. So I said, "Okay, you have homework, do your homework." And in these days, modern technology. Okay, so take a WhatsApp. I take a WhatsApp of your homework, you send it to me. I have a little time, I check. Okay, I think this answer is wrong. If I can, sometimes I call my brother. So they brought this science, math homework, I can't answer. I've taken a shot, look at it and tell them what's the answer. So I do that, and then the other thing is that I also, it gets to a point as they grow, I can't do that all the time and I get busy. So it's also getting a teacher who can come in there and help them with their homework. Then I get home and I check, have you done your homework? And then in the car, I said, you have to sign off. They put their books in my room, so when I get there, when they're going to bed, I look through the book, and if there are any corrections, they wake up in the morning, as we're going to school, I do it to them before I set off. So that's
a serious workload. What's been your strengths all this while?
So one of them, I'm a Christian, so one of it I pray a lot and I ask God for strength, because I always feel like the Bible says it's not by might, it's not by power, it's not by my might, it's not by my strength, so I need a divine strength. So I pray for strength. The other thing is that I take good care of myself, so I watch my diet, I do regular medical checks to make sure that everything is okay, and if there are remedial measures I need to do, I do that, and I exercise. So I exercise 1 hour in the mornings, or sometimes if I can in the afternoon, but at least minimum 3 times a week I exercise, because that gets your cortisol going and it gets you that energy. So I exercise, I watch my diet, and then one thing I've learned over the years that I learned not to take myself too serious. Life is too short, so that's why I tell people life is short. So I try not to take myself too serious. So that doesn't mean I'm not serious, but it means that things happen and I don't waste 3 years and 2 months mourning and groaning about, and why did this person do that? Things happen, we talk about it, and I'm very upfront and very forthright. I'll talk to you about it, I'll confront you about it in a very polite and respectful way. We discuss it, we talk about how it went well, why didn't things go well. Once we are reach agreement, I move on. If you don't agree, I make peace with myself and I move on, because in kind of negativity, it weighs you down, and that keeps your brain working, and it gives you all sorts of ailments. So those are some of my mantras. If things don't go well, talk to people about it. Come to a conclusion. If they don't agree, at least you got things off your chest, and then you made peace with yourself and you move on.
Everybody, it's been an exciting time chatting with Adiki Ayitevie. She is a Regional VP, Sustainability and External Relations And she believes that we need to be pace setters in everywhere we find ourselves. We also need to strive towards leaving positive footprints after our career is long gone. And as professionals, we need to have strategic plans in everything we do. We also need to take good care of our health, exercise for refreshment and energy, and don't cry over spilled milk. She believes we need to move on always to confront our challenges. Right now, you were telling me about another interview you have and other things like that. You also be thinking about production today. What's the production levels? Are we getting anywhere at all? What do you do if you're not thinking about these things?
So I mean, what I'd love to do some more is networking and staying more in touch with my friends. But it's having a group of friends or a circle of friends you can rely on. For me, I found very beneficial, because it's not. I don't always want to think about work. Yes. I want to energize myself and come back to work with refreshed. So you have a good circle of friends around you, a network who you can go to when you have challenges. You know they're trustworthy. They can hold things in confidence. You can share things with them and say, "This is what I'm going." So at work, in your family, and outside. So I have a network of people I can call trustworthy within the company. Outside the company, within my circle of friends who may be schoolmates or people I've met in church or just ordinary. And then my siblings, so they're the ones that, if sometimes depending on who has that knowledge or who has certain flair or is good on certain things. When I have challenges, sometimes I pray about it, but I sometimes also talk to people and ask, what do you think, and what has been your experience? And people share their experience, and I realize, oh my God, this is no big deal. This person, mine is kind of chicken, and outside I tell them, this man is chicken feed compared to yours. So learn to build a circle of friends and family who are trustworthy, who know and who can give you good advice, who will know also how to be confidential, and they will share things with you, and it helps put things into perspective. And back again to what I said, then it helps you not to take things too serious. Outside work, I'm an usher, so I've been an usher for 22 years. So I'm a church usher. So when I get to church, I become an usher, and you all know the roles of ushers. Yes, ushers are probably kind of the most, I always say something, the most disrespected people in church. So I put my role as a vice president last time. When I go to church, I'm an usher. I wear my robe, I put on my duku, and then I'm walking, and I tell people, oh, go and sit here, and then they look at you and say, I don't want to sit here, and then move elsewhere. All those things teach me. So I learned how to control myself and control my emotions, because I'm like, okay, you can't control these people here, you can't control your people at work. So I say a big shout out to my people at church who have helped me learn how to control my emotion. So I serve in church, and that's what I do. And I'm also a women's fellowship person. So, and then beyond that, if I have the time, I like to also travel with my family to see new places and see. And I read a lot. I love reading. Fiction, professional books, but I read a lot because then I read about people, pace setters, people who are recognized in the field like Bill Gates. I read about who was the former CEO of Pepsi. I read about the CEO, the owner of Virgin. I read a lot. So I read because these are, I'm sharing with somebody who works with Facebook, because I like to learn from people who have been walked the path that I've walked. What are the lessons that they've learned? And I've learned a lot from them, because a lot of things that I'm going through, I'm facing now as I'm going through that executive role. There's things that they've confronted and they've written and spoken about it. They've spoken about what has made them successful, how they've been able to manage their family life. And I learn and I practice, and I then also share with people. So that's what I do in my spare time.
As far as professionals are concerned,
I'm not sure about it. I think that I wouldn't say there's anything lacking. I think it's more about what can we keep improving on. And for me, it's about listening to our stakeholders. And we do a fair bit of that. We listen to our stakeholders. But I always say that for somebody who's come from the practice of communications or public relations, which is all about stakeholder management and engagement, I know that it's important to put yourself in the shoes of the other person. So that's how I have always practiced in my professional career. I put myself in the shoes of the other person, and then I say, okay, this is how this person feels. If I'm able to address their concerns, then I'll be successful, because then they begin to understand me. Because if I don't understand and I don't address how they feel, then I mean we're not going to be successful as well. So one of the things I would say is that we need to keep working on this, understanding there are very negative thoughts about mining. Mining has moved on. People are still in the 1900s way, but it's always understanding where they're coming from. So if we understand, maybe because we are not telling our story as well as we should, we're not letting people know that the company has moved on or the industry has moved on. So I think that's something that we need to work on.
And given the opportunity, what would you want to see it done differently?
I think it's what I'd like to see being done differently is working on our inclusion and diversity strategy and making sure we're getting more women into the profession, into the industry, working on building our relationships with our stakeholders, both internal, our employees and contractors, government, our communities, and the general public, because mining is doing wonders for this country. Mining contributes a lot to this country, but people still don't understand. So how do we educate people? How do we bring them along with us on our journey so that we get that support and we get that buy-in so that they see the benefit and we can work together?
You've been in the industry for, like I said, quite some time. A decade is a long, you sat back, you've observed a lot. What would you want to say to industry professionals, the young professionals, and the up-and-coming ones, students from school?
So what I'll tell them is that I think I've told them about, people I see these days that when people get employed, immediately they want to be my role.
Yes.
And I graduated I graduated in 1992.
Yes, and it's strange.
And we are in 2019, so 27 years. I mean, growing your career comes from experience, and experience comes from working. So we should build our experience, and in building our experience, then it means that you should be ready to take on more. You should be ready to learn from your failures. You should be ready to take advice, and you should be ready to improve yourself. And I think that if we look beyond our fears, we adopt that approach of continuous improvement, we are always learning, we are always striving to improve on what we do. And I always say that what value are you bringing to the work that you're doing? What value are you bringing to the organization? If you do that, I think that the accolades and then the advancements will come. But build yourself, learn, and then be willing to confront your failures and say that I failed, that's not the end of the world. What have I learned from my failure, and how do I use that to improve myself? And talk to people, network, build relationships, and learn what people are doing, and that's sometimes that will be open doors for you.
First, we still have a very close and personal chat with Adiki Ayitevie, the Regional VP, Sustainability and External Relations. Adiki believes that we need to learn to build around ourselves trusted friends, family, and professionals, where we will seek counsel when it matters. And then to the industry needs to move towards diversity and inclusion. Time is fast spent on that, it's long overdue, and the time is now. We need to build an experience and ready to take on more challenges, improve yourself for future roles. And ask yourself always and every day, what value am I bringing to the company? Confront your failures always. What is it that our viewers would be surprised? What would you tell them? What is it about you that they will say, hey, you did all this thing happens?
So I'll say.
But I know once you are not, that means you are very good.
So that's a surprise that I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, nobody knew that.
Yeah.
And I hope you should also dance very well at church as well.
I don't dance that much.
Are we going to see you explore new fields? What's next for you?
So the next for me is growing in my role as the Sustainability and External Relations Vice President for Newmont Goldcorp Africa. So I got into this role in October 2018. So I'm about 7 months in the role. And under sustainability and external relations, I have accountability for environmental management, so environment, social responsibility to be social performance. I have accountability for communications, accountability for external relations. I have accountability for systems and services and site government relations. So I think the area that I need to improve myself now is in environmental management. And so that is where now I'm building myself, is to build my expertise in environmental management. So I began reading around and I've identified a couple of programs I can do. So now that's what I'm looking towards doing. to become an environmental, not an expert, at least fairly knowledgeable about the environment, so that I can lead a team and provide that advice that's required.
And given the opportunity 10 years ago, before you know now, would you have preferred another switch to the mining
No, I'm not
industry?
sure. I think my career has taken a trajectory which by God's grace has been okay. So I mean, it's make do with whatever you have. And it's been a fantastic journey so far. I'm not going to say that I'll go for anything else.
Yes, a good mining is joy. Thank you for having us.
My pleasure.